Right, today we have the one and only, the biggest man in the current rap battle community of this era. It's Mr. Freshy Kanal himself coming on today for the ERBcast.
Yeah, Freshy is, I would like to say, one of the biggest fan-made channels in existence, right next to Winnie Avalon, Keyblade, and even Camsteady. But when it comes to fan-made channels, I would think that when you think of the term fan-made channels, Freshy is arguably the biggest one. So yeah, this guy has a lot of impact. You need to know where this goes. Oh.
Hey. Sorry, I'm listening to live performance.
There he is.
No, that's okay, bro. It's okay. I was also vibing to something else too, so you're
Let's
good.
Go. How's it going, peeps?
Everything's good.
It's alright, I guess. Things could be better, but you know what though? I think the day just got even better now. The fact that you decided to put some time to hang out with us, I think you just made it better, bro.
Yeah. So. Do you want me to record something on Audition, or are you doing that on your end? How do you handle this?
Oh, really? I don't think we have something for your video to put on, or like we'll just probably do with the icon as usual. But yeah, this is still fine if you want to leave it as this.
Yeah. But yeah, it's okay though. It's okay. Listen. We have more of a visual presentation of the man himself, so it's okay. Don't worry. We have an idea.
Awesome.
That's like trying to sculpt a little bit of a statue. So don't worry. We have a visual. We have something to go off of now.
Very nice.
All right. So first off, Reggie, how are you doing? Actually, bro, you asked us how are you doing. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. I've been doing a lot of beat production today.
We're on fire today.
Welcome to the Rap Battle Podcast, everybody. I'm doing well. I did a lot of beat production today, working on stuff for clients, and then tomorrow I'll go back to my own stuff.
Yeah, busy man.
Okay. Hey, man. Yeah, that's right, dude. Listen, you're busy keeping these consistent. That's how we do it around here.
Exactly.
But yeah. So I'm glad to know that, we're all doing okay. We're all just vibing. We're all making fire. You're making fire. So I mean, shit. First off, I usually like to open up with the usual things I ask our guests, but this time it's gonna be a little bit different. If you don't mind me asking you, where the hell did the name Freshy Kanal come from? Because I never ever understood that. Can you maybe elaborate more on that, please?
Right. So first of all, I am German. So the word canal is German and stands for channel, like a YouTube channel. Okay. I used to watch a Let's Player who did a lot of Mario games back in like 2010, and they had like their username and then Kanal. So I thought, okay, you have to put Kanal there as like the channel name. It's the channel for this person. Where does Freshy come from? In 4th grade, when I was 10 years old, we had the task in art class to make our own brand. And I printed out an advertisement for like cocktails and mocktails, for children, with different like flavors. And I thought that a cool term for it is freshy. It sounds cool. It sounds fresh. And so then when in 2013 I created my channel, I think it was August 30th-ish. I thought, okay, let's merge that. Freshy is cool, and then just Kanal after that. So I'll stay with that. And then I was simply just too lazy to change it ever since. So that's what it is.
Hey, man, listen, bro. If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, it's got a nice ring to it, of course.
Shit, yeah, exactly. It says, hey, Freshy. I don't know, because for the longest time, it just always reminded me of a cleaning product. I'm sure everyone joked about that, right, at one point?
For sure. Definitely.
Okay, yeah, because I've always been intrigued by that. But and usually we also like to ask now my real question now, besides being intrigued by your name, how and when did you discover Epic Rap Battles of History?
That was on April 7th, 2013. It was the day before Skrillex versus Mozart released. That's why I remember it. And it was a Sunday. And I first was I watched a lot of German YouTubers, and one German YouTuber did rap battles between German YouTubers. I forgot the name of the channel, but that got, I think it was Gandhi versus MLK into my recommended. And so I clicked on that and then went down the rabbit hole and watched all the ERBs. Proceeded to then have to wait the entire summer for them to drop more. So across the summer, I became a huge fan about season 2 and season 1. I was even in summer camp, and in summer camp we had like 1 hour we were allowed to spend on a PC to just like Google things and whatnot. And I just spent that whole hour just like showing the other summer camp kids like ERB, and was like, yo, they did Leonidas here and whatnot. This looks cool. And yeah, then in I think October 7th, 2013 it was, they came back with Hitler vs. Vader 3. And yeah, that's how I got into it. Then I discovered the ERB wiki and was like curious about details and like where they find updates very early. And like the very interesting game about ERB was always like the hints and puzzling together what it's gonna be to then have a big reveal of a fucking 2-minute long video. Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah, it's sad that they kind of do that stuff in kind of sporadic doses now, unfortunately. But hey, you know what? Back then, when they used to just apply these little minuscule hints of hey, this shit's gonna happen. Well, it just gets you. It just gets your I don't know, the little bit of the what's someone call it, the addictive rate. You just it just makes you want to come back for more. It's such an addictive series. So it's something Xander would say too. So that's actually a really accurate description of what he says. Oh yeah, this shit was really addictive. Really want to start pumping these out consistently left and right. So
it got to the point genuinely where like I didn't know if I could even do this, like be there without ERB. I got to the point where like I always was analyzing every single shot. I was genuinely writing on paper how many side shots there were in each battle, and like how long to the second. It's like an OCD obsession. How long to the second each verses and whatnot. I got obsessed with it, and like it. I don't know. It was like a synesthesia fest of colors and creativity and different things. And that's the great thing about rap battles, because you have lyric writing, audio engineering, you have directing, you have background making, you have all these different flavors of creativity put into this one concept. That's why it's so addictive.
Yeah, it's true. You really were dedicated to them.
Yeah.
And speaking of the hints and podcast and whatnot, it reminds me of how I had found out last year you were actually gotten into the community thanks to DNA Fox, if you recall the ERB hints and updates and all that.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. It was DNA Fox first, yeah. Then I texted him on YouTube. I was like, yo, if you ever want to do an ERB cover together, back with my like squeaky children voice back then. Let's do something. And what was it? I think we did like a sped up version of Lance Armstrong and a Tony Hawk cover. Obviously now I probably privated them because they're very cringe. But that was like the 2016 hot shit that we did. And that was the first step into everything.
Yeah, I feel like ERB covers could make a comeback, honestly. Like, there's usually this type of change within the community. There's like the certain videos encapsulate like the eras of it as we're waiting, because we're kind of dry right now. But with if obviously Fight Markers AOI gaming channel that does ERB covers, but they're practically shitposts. That to me is like the next step. It's like the evolution, obviously.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I think it's very funny. There's a lot of fun to be had with that type of stuff. I mean, we always go from like the smallest step of creativity to the most. Like, some people are really into Nightcore and slowed and reverb, which is just like 5 minutes of work, and there's a whole fandom for it. And they're like, I always love seeing the comments on that, like, yo, this is a great version of the Nightcore. This is like perfect. I'm like, yeah, they sure spent those 5 minutes very well. Or then you get to the point where you spend like a whole year planning out a story of a rap battle. Like, it can really go into all sorts of directions.
Exactly. Not 100%. It's just kind of crazy how one thing leads to another. I mean, the fact that you just kind of got your start from there a little bit, though, kind of got your name out there. Did a few things. Hell, I mean, in your earlier videos, you have a shit ton of ERB concert videos. So those are pretty cool, man. The fact that you even had the privilege to even meeting them too. I mean, hell, you even got to working with them, currently. So, I mean, shit, that's pretty awesome, dude. That's got to be a monumental event in your life. Like seriously.
Definitely. And yeah, Lloyd and I keep up like every now and then. We don't talk too often, but sometimes we message each other here. And he sent me like a song from his the other day because he I think he was using like the beat that I used in the Star-Lord rap battle, and he was like, dude, why do we overlap like this all the time? Like, yeah. I'll always be grateful for ERB existing, because without them I would not be the same person, and I would not do what I do right now, and I would not be able to earn money from what I do right now, which is crazy. So I will always be grateful for them doing everything that they did.
Hey, I mean, they served definitely a huge landmark within something of this little nicheness that everybody started to follow suit, as they kind of established it within their own. So it's nice to see everybody else follow suit. Really. Have you ever spoken to Peter as often, or not really, compared to Lloyd?
Peter, I mean, in the Patreon server when they're doing like the either live stream or the writing sessions, he's there. But I don't think he's very much on social media, also given that like obviously he has children and a wife and a lot of other things to worry about. I don't think that he converses a lot with people online aside from like the direct ERB Patreon contact and whatnot. So I mean, I met him at the concert in 2015 I went to that I filmed, and otherwise just through the Patreon mostly.
Okay, yeah, I kind of figured he was, kind of not exactly the social type. I mean, he's always been so outspoken about that stuff, so that's totally reasonable. Yeah. But did you get his autograph though?
No. Oh yeah, that was it, right? Because I wanted to like get I'm not a big autograph person. I like more taking pictures to like put that on the wall. But I think after the 2015 show, he like just directly went to the back, and Lloyd was talking with people in the front, so I asked Lloyd for a picture. And I think I got one with Dante, but I didn't get one with Peter yet. Maybe at some point.
Man, Dante, man gets no credit. I swear to God, he doesn't.
We love Dante.
Yeah, he's like our favorite, honestly. Did all the hints way back then.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
He only has one role. Dude's as popular as the other two. Even Zach to some extent. No, okay. But no. We all fuck with Dante. He's cool.
For sure.
And I wanted to say, when I saw Freddy Fazbear versus Mr. Bear, that's the first ever battle you've done, right? You guys want to clarify?
Yeah, the first video battle that I released, yes.
Okay. Yeah, because I don't know. I have such a weird history of that video because I remember seeing it on another channel that wasn't yours for some reason. I don't know where it came from, unless I remember it originated from the ERB news.
Yeah, I think you both uploaded it at the same time.
Yeah, I think we both uploaded it. We had very different plans back then. It started as like a merged series between DNA Fox and me, but he just wanted to make like a couple battles and like often lacked a lot of motivation to continue. So I had to be like, all right, I'll keep doing the ones that I want to do. I'll keep doing it on my own and whatnot. So you could say that it started as a partner series, but like immediately at like episode 2 shifted to just my own direction.
He was basically your springboard for it.
Yeah. No, I love him. Hey, shout out DNA Fox.
Hey, listen, man. Someone's gonna start somewhere. So even if stuff doesn't really see eye to eye, I mean, shit. Listen, the fact that he decided to motivate you even further to say, hey, you know what? No, you found your stepping ground. Go on with it. Look at you now. I mean, shit.
Oh yeah.
Look at you.
Yeah, actually, funny thing about this, I decided to just go ahead and binge all the battles I have not seen from you right before this started, just a few hours before. So if you want, I can go ahead and give you my opinion based on all the parts. Of course, the 7th part just came out earlier, so not too much right there. But I want to start with part 1. That one was mainly just plain good. For the start of the series, it's like nothing to take away from that. Mainly kind of C tier battles, couple D and B tiers. I'd say my favorite definitely was Tarzan versus Spider-Man. It has our friend Stolfrix there. We love him for the role, and
probably same. Yeah.
Of course. And then Chihiro versus Frisk, King K. Rool versus Ridley, also my favorites from those. So those actually managed to be
so badass.
Yeah, rewatchable for those.
Hell yeah.
Then after that, part 2, I'd say that was a major improvement. Like that's a real big stepping stone from there because it had more consistency. Some of the battles were more worth going back to. So Alexander Hamilton versus Luke Skywalker. I feel like it wouldn't make sense as a matchup, but it did work. I like the lines that you had for that one. So I'd say that was my favorite. And funny thing is, it also has the only matchup you did that I think ERB should really get to. Well, besides actually Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde versus Eddie and Venom. But I like Ghostface versus Samara for ERB to do.
Yeah.
Red's actually a big Scream fan, so he'd also be interested in them doing Ghostface.
Yeah.
Yep,
I thought about that for a bit, actually, because I think if they do one more horror one, like actually like horror mascot someone at, yeah, I thought about it for a while, and I think for them specifically, even if these two don't have that much of a connection, but I could see them doing Ghostface versus Leatherface, because you have like obviously face in their name, you have this like very gritty farmer, and then this like high school town like difference of like habitats where they're living, and to me it just vibes where like he's this wisecracking, very quick talking killer versus like this almost illiterate other guy who you know they could definitely have like a lot of dynamic with that I think could be fun, and it's fun costumes for ERB. I could see that being like a Houdini Copperfield type length, like a little cool fun Halloween thing for them at some point.
I do agree with the notion that Ghostface should be the next slasher to use. Like, I mean, he seems like a I mean, he's just as much of an icon as Freddy is. Like, really, between Wes Craven's... I mean, I know Wes Craven wasn't really that involved with the writing. He never was. He just directed the Scream movies before he passed away, sadly. But whatchamacallit, I do think that if they want to use another slasher character, like I for sure agree 100% the fact that Ghostface should be like automatically used right after Freddy.
I agree, because it's horror comedy as well. That's something that they haven't tapped into nearly.
Yeah, not really, right? Yeah, that could be something.
And Pennywise versus Freddy Krueger, also that one was one I loved from part 2.
Yeah, that was a big one at that point. I'm happy that got out.
Yeah, just as ERB was releasing their own as well.
True. Right, that all was 2019. So I never I guess 2019 really was just the Pennywise year, wasn't it?
And Joker as well. You had your Joker battle right after that.
True.
Yeah.
That's also true.
Well, man, it's just, you can't really escape this shit. There was like 1,000 Joker versus Pennywise battles before they did theirs. So I mean, shit. That's pretty awesome, though. It's really nice seeing different iterations of the same matchup, though, being done by different people. It's just I find that fascinating to me.
And then ERB's spin on it as well.
It's really awesome. Yeah, exactly. It's even better. So this is kind of, I don't know. It's awesome. I like it. So it's also really amusing seeing different takes on characters in different matchups. That's even funnier.
Yeah. So, it's great when people like find different nuances in a character, especially with beats. Obviously, like with beats, you can always hear like different directions. I think, for example, I did a big mistake with Pennywise and with Leatherface, where I gave them a very beat in around the speed that requires you to rap fast in order for it to not be crazy slow, which for both of these characters doesn't work well because they have such a strong impression and hard to understand voice. So I think that was like already a fatal mistake on my end to where I should have either picked like the speed that ERB did for Pennywise, or like a boom bap kind of thing where you can just hear sentences more clearly. But yeah, different directions. That's where we were.
Yeah, you learn from mistakes, obviously.
Definitely.
It even shows in the writing too, so that's cool.
Yeah. Now, for part 3, I would say this is one where it got to really more of your current territory, where it started off strong for me for part 3. It just got a little more derivative to feel closer to how it is now. But for better or for worse, it did have some hits or misses for my preference. Amazingly, my favorite, I think, is probably Monica versus Harley Quinn. I actually quite enjoyed it. And now here's awesome. Here's one that in Mr. Tibbs's podcast, I was actually kind of a little baffled with. I really loved Taylor versus Kanye, and I think you actually captured the styles very well. You said that you are not satisfied in how you did it, though. You said it could have been different for the musical styles, and I feel like I would disagree.
Freshy. Don't discredit yourself, brother.
I think Jason and I writing that for like 9 months. I think we did Kanye pretty well. I love that I put in the idea of him sampling himself. I thought that was pretty good. I'm happy with Kanye's part, and I like him interrupting Taylor. Taylor doesn't sing how the real Taylor sings.
Yeah.
Like, I like the last verse melody, but back then I was very new to putting like melodies into things, and I was talking to like musical cover friends, and they came up with melodies, and we went through like I think 6 or 7 different melodies I could do for these lines, and I liked none of them. And then the last one was like, okay, this is kind of fine. But at that point, I was like, okay, I can't just not use that at this point. That would be so insulting to them. So I just ran with that kind of. But if it was up to me, like that should have needed a lot more polish. The beat, obviously, so it was custom produced by Hollywood legend, and then I added some stuff to it. My friend Seb added some stuff to it. The Kanye parts were mostly inspired by Power, and the Taylor parts by Shake It Off, I think.
Yeah.
With the saxophone and whatnot. Yeah, roughly it. But yeah, it's a learning experience. Like each battle, I don't think there is one battle where I wouldn't change anything. Like there's always at least a little something that I'm like, okay, I could have changed that, could have made this better and whatnot. Like that's what it's all about. But like it's important as an artist to just also at some point release stuff, move on to the next thing, try to do your best. And when you're like, okay, I put my everything into this, I can't keep running around the same circles with perfectionism. I need to get it out now. At that point, like just move to the next project. But it's always worth to try your best with each one. And that's what I always try to do. And at some point I have to be like, okay, I gave everything I can, got to do the next one. And sometimes it doesn't really hit well. That's what happens.
Yeah, it's understandable. I think that's very much a big part of the creative process, and you very much put it out as much as I could. Like I'd also say that also applies when I'm trying to think of stuff that I'm trying to make on my own.
Yeah.
And like I was saying about this battle though, like I have another friend who's also huge into, before I even got back into the community, or maybe around the time I was, he had also linked this same battle to the music server saying, this is the guy who's basically the biggest of the ERB clones, but I think he captured the styles really well. So I think that's a big compliment. Even someone like that
Hell yeah.
very, very much appreciative of it.
Awesome. I'm glad to hear.
And of course, the other one of the part 3 that I loved, Mr. Bean versus Charlie Chaplin. I think everyone loves that, of course.
Oh yeah, I'm very hyped, happy with that. That is like still one of the 10 to 15 battles I would probably at some point try to redo, just because the Mr. Bean camera was blurred. Like that's the one thing that just like really triggers me. But it's one of those things where like we were very early in the process of like getting live action stuff. It was I think Tibbs' first role in the series. And I just told him like, okay, do this and that. This is the storyboard, wrote this on the document, and he just filmed that with his siblings in like his garage. And then I got the footage, and it was like, okay, they went through all this effort. It all is like a slightly bit blurred. It's gonna bother the fuck out of me, but I'm gonna have to run with this. Yeah, so that's the one thing where I'm still like, if that was fixed, I would be so happy. I wouldn't change anything at the audio. I think I would just want to do the video a little bit different.
Oh, you can.
Are we gonna get some re-editing Freshy Kanal videos in the future, possibly? Kind of like what ERB did with the Hulk Hogan versus
yeah. I think
awesome.
I've been thinking about like how I would want to do that, and I think like at some point later down the line, like I'm talking like in 5 years, 6 years, something, I just collectively grab a bunch and then just have like a few months of like re-uploads as like a wave. I can tell you right now which ones I would even like consider for that. Going from the start, it would be Frisk versus Chihiro, Tarzan versus Spider-Man, Venom versus Jekyll, Bean versus Chaplin, Sonic versus Flash, Houdini versus Copperfield
Mysterio.
versus what's his name? Mysterio. Ash versus Denji. And probably something that I'm not thinking of right now, but roughly those, especially like Ash versus Denji, I missed out on a lot of research because of the album, which is also why I'm not doing albums anymore right now, because those always backed me into a corner of pre-producing a bunch of battles across the winter, to the point where then, they just got written, I have to get this out in the next like week or two, because content, and the money's slowly going down because YouTube in January always like halves your income or something. And then I'm like, okay, I need to quickly get some cast and whatnot. And like within those 2 weeks, so many sloppy decisions happen. Which is why I didn't do that this year, because I was like, I don't want this. I want to put my full focus into these projects. And that's partly a reason why like Ash versus Denji also doesn't fully have the writing that I wanted to have. I didn't watch the Ash series. That's part of the issue. And stuff like I mean, each battle, like with voice cast and whatnot, sometimes it's like not the ideal option or something that I wish I could have done with a bit more time. Yeah, I keep losing my point. I was like, where was I?
No, it's okay. It's okay, man.
Yeah, we got the Freshy exclusive here.
Okay. Yep. Yeah. So don't worry, we're all good. No. You're just saying that you kind of want to have the writing in a much better condition that you would like to have, pretty much. Yeah. The point you were trying to make, basically.
Yeah. I figured out a very practical way to write lately, to the point where I know if this is worth to become a battle or not. And like obviously the first step for every battle is like do the research, do as much research as you can. The hardest characters are obviously if it's a book or if it's a fucking series that you have to go through. The easiest is if it's just a movie of material. But like do the research, note everything down, and then I put all the notes of like what could be a diss, what I can do. And if I have like 8 to 14 points for each character where I'm like, okay, this can be a fun diss, this can be a fun diss, this is what I need to talk about, a song I need to mention and whatnot. And when I have that collection, I'm like, okay, this collective here being mentioned in half the battle could be interesting enough to become a battle. Then I get into the writing mode, structure it out where I want to say something, and then it gets into the phrasing.
Okay. That's a Freshy Kanal way, everybody.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, and
just note that. So
I was gonna say, I remembered of Chihiro versus Frisk. One thing about that battle that kind of validated my thoughts on how you can make a rap battle. You have Yubaba come in to back up Frisk, despite her being the antagonist. I think it's kind of cool if you can get the antagonist involved sometimes, even if they're obviously not supposed to be on the same team. I think it's still more like a game of one-upmanship, because as Red had said before, with like say Billy and Mandy versus Jipper and Mabel, if someone wants to make Grimm back up Billy and Mandy, but then Bill Cipher comes because he's like the counterpart to Grimm for the battle. I mean, it's still definitely a cool matchup between Grimm and Bill, because even if Bill's the villain here, he's still gonna try to basically get in the way, the same way you basically did it with Yubaba in Chihiro versus Frisk.
Yeah, because technically, like Yubaba dissing Frisk or Sans does not mean that she supports Chihiro technically. Like it just means, hey yo, they got a battle here, all right, let me show them what I got. And like I can probably diss them better than you. You can have all sorts of dynamics there.
Yeah, it turns into franchise versus franchise, really, which is still like the same side, just like different characters of opposing views, but they're still gonna diss the other side.
Yeah, I agree. It's fun.
Yeah, and what I have for part 4 is actually quite opinionated. It's that the way part 3 started very strong to me, and then got like a little different in how it went. Part 4, it started off a little meh, like it's like the opposite. So I didn't care for the first couple battles. If I do have this one criticism that usually other people have, it's where if the rapper is more doing just a flow and filling in references and the lines just kind of go there, but you don't really have the time to let it breathe, it'll sound like it's kind of like stock character, but now it has like a Zuko skin, which is what I was thinking of with that battle. It's like it doesn't really feel like Zuko. It feels like a rapper cosplaying a Zuko kind of. And so that's why it kind of started out like that. But then it did get much better overall for improving creativity. It had some of my favorites of this. It just, a few of them were like, how you can make it more of a song than an actual rap battle. But in any case, obviously this one has Mr. Beast versus Squid Game. Everyone knows that one. It has Loki versus Count Olaf. I love the part where you have Loki imitating Count Olaf to start the verse. That's genius. It's like probably the most creative thing I've seen
concept, isn't it?
In a rap battle that I've
Hell
seen.
Yeah.
And of course, Bob versus Bob. I actually love your Bob Ross usage compared to ERB's, of course. There's a few, of course, everyone knows certain characters, you use them better because ERB could miss the mark. They're not like huge fans, and then you go ahead and use them and you show that you did have your worth in going through the research. So that's obviously a kudos to that one.
Why not, right? Yeah. Part 4, you can definitely see the influence of the album thing here, where especially Zuko versus Jack Frost genuinely was a last-minute addition to the album just to satisfy my OCD with it being 21 tracks. Yeah, it's really fucking dumb. I know. We did this like 2 weeks before I released it, and then got it recorded quick and whatnot. And it is a matchup that I'm technically passionate about. I love both characters. I love the Avatar series, and I love the Jack Frost movie and generally that character. But it's a last minute thing, and it's also like my least favorite of that part. And you can generally see that in that year, like the start was also like kind of rushed together with the album. The ultimate goal with writing, obviously, is always to have a really interesting, catchy flow to want to come back to, and great content in that flow that is like a harsh diss. Like that's like the perfect result if you have like crazy disses that sound super catchy. Very often you sometimes have like a diss that is a very specific way that it's being said so that it delivers well, but it doesn't sound too catchy, and then you have to sacrifice that part. Sometimes you also have like a super super catchy flow where like, oh, ba ba da ba 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 da ba ba, I want to say this part, but there's not the words that come to your mind that would make this like super hard hitting. So sometimes you just have to sacrifice one or the other and then end up with a big part of that. But like you won when you have both aspects hitting at the same time. It's just that's the hardest gamble of the entire rap battle production, the writing to really reach that spot for each one. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
You gotta find that middle ground.
Yeah.
Or sometimes not even the middle ground, but you have to elevate oneself to another.
Definitely.
That's how you get to your end goal. That's how it usually works. I wanted to ask you, who do you enjoy collaborating with the most out of anybody in your crew? I know you can't pick favorites. I know it's fine, but you can just name anybody. Who do you like just working with the most, though? Really, that sounds really generic to ask, but yeah. Hey.
I can tell a couple people. My favorite co-writers. There's not many people that I trust with writing that I like bounce back on very well, but my friend Felix Littleflecks is definitely one to shout out. Helps me a lot, and I would not have done these battles without him. He carried the Star-Lord one and the Guy Fawkes one, and does a lot of really, really, really cool flows that I could not have come up myself. So I'm very grateful to be working with him. Then another creative genius is Snakebite 126, who is also still so young. He's like 18 right now, and like already just like way ahead of so many people in terms of like creative delivery and wording things. And I consider him a little superhero, honestly. Like he will go so far in the industry at some point. Can put himself into so many perspectives on roles, and has the lyrical talent while not even having listened to that many hip-hop albums. Like he now got into rap music more, but before that, even like he wasn't the biggest like hip-hop guy and more musical theater, and still was able to like write so many creative flows and punches and jokes, and he's so fucking funny. Like both of those I would definitely give a shout out to. And then like I write a lot with Connor Quest. we bounce back very well. We call like every 2-3 days and then have like a 3-hour writing session where we just like babble a lot and then have like a verse down. Very amazing rhyme scheme writer, especially. He can do rhyme scheme super well. So those 3 are like the main ones I definitely go to the most. And then there's obviously a list of like 50 to 200 people that I could say, but don't want to drag it on too much. That I love collaborating with.
That's awesome. Hey, got your own little crew there. Mm-hmm. Always nice to have some
for sure.
bit of establishing ground with people that you work with. And you know what though, with the crew that you have already, I mean, shit, I think you couldn't ask for any better people. I mean, fuck.
Yeah, and to
for
me,
sure.
Flex, I would say.
What's up?
Yeah, I wanted to say real quick. To me, the best one that you work with is Boris Johnson versus the Penguin. It's my favorite. Now that I've watched all of them, I think that's Flex at the top of his game. I'd say that's the best mix of his usual cadence and flow. Like it doesn't do much overloading to the actual battle because sometimes it's like a little hard to hear or understand how it goes. But that one, along with Edgar Wright versus Wes Anderson, that one's also among my favorite from Part 5. So those two, I'd say were his best works.
I love those two for sure. He writes the best when he writes for himself, like when he writes for his own voice. Because a lot of it can get sloppy when he writes like in his natural flow and then someone else has to perform it. Especially with the British accent, I think Cam had to like change one word or like blend it a little bit as Nathan Drake, which was the word derriere. Because I think Felix rhymed that in the British accent, so Cam had to like blend it in like the middle ground between American and British in the delivery. But yeah, top of his game always. I love the Boris Johnson one and the Wes Anderson one, definitely.
Yeah, and I think Red and I do have our favorites. I think his favorite he said is Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared versus Truman Show, which is also my favorite from Part 6.
Yep.
And I think second place to that, also everyone's favorite, Rock versus Paper versus Scissors.
Oh, really? That's dope. That's really nice.
The thing everyone mentions, though, I will say real quick, James Gunn is very much a last-minute addition, isn't he?
In fact, he's not.
I'm surprised.
Yeah. So here's the thing, right? I figured out the concept for this November 2022 while we were filming the Nathan Drake stuff. And my philosophy was like, I don't want to use Paper Mario because I want to use Mario himself, and I didn't want to use both of those. That was like a little, I don't know. I probably should have used Paper Mario, and I was like, oh yeah, everyone knows this arcade game, Paperboy. I didn't even know it. But yeah, so we got those, and I always wanted to have like a little end surprise that was like for rock, paper, scissors, shoot, and then have James Gunn for that. And I wanted to have Gunn also animated by Trey Tunes, who did the Sonic video, but he didn't have time. So I was like, oh, the last minute addition was, now I have to just get art pieces for that. That's why he also stuck out like that. And yeah, I'm not very satisfied with that video for sure. I wouldn't redo it necessarily. I don't think I could do it much better or different. But I just, I'd leave it how it is, and it is what it is.
I've always said it before on so many occasions that the way how the Rockets are trading your battle is very much how I would envision ERB would use them, like exactly like that, exactly. Like, the cadence, everything, dude. Like from the style, the rapping style, everything. It's just, I don't know. That battle is so much fun. I absolutely adore it.
Awesome.
It's one of my favorites, really. I mean, excluding Guns, I personally don't really like Gun.
That's fair.
But I really don't think he added anything besides the her der gun joke. But despite that, I still like it. Even without him, let's just forget about James Gunn. The other three, absolutely magnificent performances from rapping, disses, and everything. I absolutely adored it. That is one of my favorite battles that you have done. Although, it has Poner stated, yes, I do like Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared versus the Truman Show. You want to know why? Because he used a Jim Carrey character before ERB did.
True. I'm happy that he did. They should have. I mean, okay, we can say they used Ebenezer Scrooge, kind of Jim Carrey, but they should have done the Grinch versus Ebenezer Scrooge. I'm telling you, I wish that was the ERB. Yeah, I definitely the concept of Truman Show versus Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared. I already knew from the start. Yeah, this will have to be a bit different. This will have to be a story. This will have to be something that you don't usually have in a rap battle, because both concepts kind of suggest that. Like, imagine that battle was just, we have 4 verses, nothing crazy happens, they're just the characters rapping. That'd be so fucking disappointing. Like, you have to do something with them, right? So that concept itself, like, led itself to become an outstanding episode. I think I'm very happy.
Absolutely. I really have no bad objections with it. It's just really everything. It's so stylized so perfectly, and how it captures both series. I mean, Truman only has 1 movie, but
hell yeah.
Obviously, Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared has a lot of shit to go based off of, the material, it being a series and all. But I'm just fascinated with that episode, dude. It's so constructed well. I don't know. This is so nice. I like it. And the fact that, again, I'm fascinated with the fact that a Jim Carrey character is finally being utilized, because, I mean, I don't think I've seen another one. I mean, I've seen a couple, obviously The Mask, and there's not others, though, sadly. But the fact that you decided to use Truman, is wonderful. And I have nothing negative to say about that battle. It's great.
Awesome.
ERB should follow suit. Use a goddamn Jim Carrey character for once. I want the Mask one.
Y'all heard it, ERB. Do it, please. Thank you.
And on that one, it's like the one battle you have where I'm kind of left wanting more, because I feel like there could have been a bit more extra with it. But I do like how it ended up as well.
Yes, definitely.
Seriously,
you can always imagine, like, whatever you see is like the most I could possibly do in my situation. Like, I always try my hardest to, like, use everything I can. We almost actually got a full physical Don't Hike Me, I'm Scared set commissioned, and that would have been like $3,000, $4,000.
Holy motherfucking Christ.
That's what it costs to model a room,
God.
But at that point, like, the 3D model did just fine. Like, I saved a bunch of $1,000 there. That would have been probably a really bad business decision for just a couple, like, nice dedication. Like, I put probably the most money last year into the Dune versus Northman one. I flew 4 people, including myself, to Spain. I flew 4 people, including myself, to England, and filmed in the forest, filmed at the beach. We were scouting the day before to find the perfect beach that has, like, that, and then I was so happy that I found, like, genuinely sand dune looking things, because that's the only actual deserty looking place I could have afforded, but I really wanted to do that. And we filmed Dune at like 6 a.m. because it would have been really, really hot at the day if Felix wasn't there in the afternoon. But like, you can see, for example, that one did not attract that many views, because not that many of the fans are into that. While then we have, like, the Jack Horner one right before that did way better. But at that point, it's worth it, just because, like, I didn't spend nearly as much money into the Jack Horner one, and it evens it out. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So
sometimes more can be lessened can be more. I mean, shit.
For sure.
Hey, look, it's one way or another. So I think I'm not too hardcore into either characters myself. I've seen the battle myself. It's really good. Like, really, it just looks magnificent on every scale. I mean, you really exerted so much into that shit. I'm not gonna take that away from you. I'm not gonna shit talk you there. So no, I mean, seriously though. I mean, oh my god, it's just breathtaking how astronomical that video is. It's just breathtaking. Like, again, seriously, it's really huge props to you just for dedicating.
Yeah. Thank you, and shout out to Cosfia for doing those crazy costumes for months. That was really, really cool.
That's nuts. Like, shit. Yeah, seriously, nothing but good shit for that one, though. But, not really characters I really give too much of a shit for. But you know what? I think if you just look at it from just a quality perspective, though, I think it holds up relatively well. I'm not going to take that away. It's a really good fucking battle.
Hell yeah. I'm glad.
I do want to ask you, I know you kind of briefly touched upon this just a little bit a couple of minutes ago or so, but I was wondering, I've always thought, I mean, I asked you this even at one point originally, but I don't think you really went too much elaborate into this, but How does the? I mean, really, how do you really construct your rap battles from everything from production to writing to filming it to choosing the matchups, etc.? I always wonder, how your mind process is when it comes to that.
Fully. Each one obviously is like its own way. Like they're not all the same path I take. I should just kind of start with a lot of it is synesthesia that leads me into a lot of decisions, which is just like connecting colors to numbers, connecting numbers to smells or memory and whatnot. That's what synesthesia is. And like for example, I go, okay, I want to do like a factory blue battle with characters that are like very mechanic and very abrupt. Okay, let's do something with Dr. Eggman. And then like, okay, that mashup is could be popular. That could be great. Then I want to do a piratey battle, something more on an island and a bit more, and like kind of diversify each episode a little bit into like the feeling, the vibe, the actual like beat and everything that you perceive in it. That's like the biggest part that plays into the decisions for me personally. Then obviously the source of the matchup for each one is different. Like sometimes there's matchups that I've been wanting to do for years, just haven't gotten to. Sometimes there's matchups like we have Kane versus Alistair, where my friend Schwab texts me, why haven't you done Kane versus Alistair yet? I'm like, you know what? I could actually see that. And then within 3 months, write that. But Star-Lord versus Jack Sparrow, has been in the back of my head or like planned since, well, I don't want to lie, like maybe 2 years, maybe 3 years before it happened. Because before that we had like Star-Lord versus Baby Driver, I think it was. Yeah, I always loved the concept of Jack Sparrow versus Star-Lord. Then obviously you have Queen of Hearts versus Wicked Witch, which was done by Whitney Avalon. But I was like, I kind of want to take my own stab at this because I love both of these characters. And lots of different directions to go. I always love being as varied as possible and getting into as many beat genres as I can, even if like in the past 4 years I've kind of automatically dug myself into orchestral sounds while not wanting to because I love movies. Does that answer the question? I keep like diving into.
Listen, it's completely fine, man. Listen, I think you answered. You touched upon most of what I asked for anyway. It's fine. Don't worry. Listen, it doesn't have to be totally 100% concrete. Look at listen, sporadic answers are also just as good too.
Oh yeah,
don't worry.
For sure. It gives a full picture.
Yeah.
Yeah. Plus, it's as you said with even though Whitney Avalon did it, Peter recently also said he could be interested in Dorothy versus Alice. One of the few matchups in these shorts that they made where it's like, we also want this. It's been around for so long.
I want to see it. I want to see them do Alice in Wonderland for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. That'd be awesome. I always wanted an ERB version of Alice versus Dorothy, just how their groups coming in to help them out and all that shit.
Yeah.
It's absolutely funny. That'd be
Big
awesome.
worlds.
Yeah, exactly. And they clash so well together. I mean, hell, we need an actual good female versus female battle, please. Yeah. Listen, Oprah versus Ellen be the last one. This isn't it, man.
We need some more. We need some badass.
Exactly. We need some
badass stuff.
Dude. Personally, I would want them to do Samus versus Ripley. Seriously, that'd be really sick too.
If they don't, I will do Samus versus Ripley in like.
Oh, okay.
8 years.
Yeah, I think. Okay. Maybe in the 305 BC. So
yeah, no, in like I can imagine it for like a final season I would ever do in like. I don't know, 8 to 10 years. I don't know how far the series will go, but just like at some point, getting into like actual spaceship looking locations and stuff, I would want to do that for sure.
And make it scary as fuck.
True.
That's what you got to do. With Xenomorphs and also Ridley coming in. Mm-hmm. Oh my god. Wow, I'm getting excited for nothing that's not gonna happen. But no, it's okay though. But yeah, it will be really nice to see really ERB take some more, stronger female leads. I know, Marilyn versus Cleopatra was, it's kind of decent, right? I guess. I mean, it's good. But I do think leaving it off with Oprah versus Ellen is very disappointing.
Yeah, true.
I think it's about time to get some stronger leads, man. So
I could see, they probably wouldn't, but I could see like the bride from Kill Bill, maybe Mulan.
she was gonna go against Joan of Arc, like in the earlier stages, I believe, right before they chose Miley Cyrus. I think.
Yeah.
But
there's some stuff they can do for sure. There's some stuff they can do.
But yeah, listen. But if you want to take a stab at it, hey, nobody owns matchups, so.
Right. Maybe
run ahead. I'm more than happy to see your version of Samus versus Ripley because I'm not like a huge Metro fan, but I only know really Samus through the Smash Brothers. Thank you, Nintendo.
Yeah.
But and I love the first two Alien movies at least. And I'm really fascinated with that universe, and it's really awesome. That matchup is really good overall.
Yeah, true.
About it, this works. So
I agree.
Coming in the far future. Samus versus Ripley. We heard it here.
True.
Well, I did hear you talk about it in Tibbs podcast. Like, oh yeah, you know what? I think I'm kind of interested in doing this. I'm, oh shit, okay.
Yeah. it's always very sporadic what we then end up doing, and like then kind of move into the future and just let it hang in the back of our mind, and then pick it back up and stuff. I don't know. It's a very sporadic schedule we go through.
It's thought provoking too, actually. Actually, it's kind of inspiring. If anything, think about it.
Yeah,
self motivation, bro. That's how it should be.
Yeah, and another final thing, which really kind of keep wrapping it up or going on other points, but I want to know if you have your own match that you would like, either you, ERB, any other favorite channel of yours, you want to just have it made.
Yeah,
sure. I don't know which channel would be best for this, but I want to see Pennywise versus the Beldam from Coraline, because they have the spider connection and the I guess shape-shifting kind of thing. ERB, I think my favorite matchup for them is Willy Wonka versus Pablo Escobar. I think we need Pablo Escobar in a battle. He's the Colombian Robin Hood, basically. I talked with a dad from a friend who has I think family members who were directly involved with Pablo Escobar in the past.
The cartel.
Or at least were there while that was happening. And he told me the exact story of what happened with Pablo Escobar and how he was in the country, and I was like, you know what, this is such a character, and ERB should just put a bit of time into discovering him and just I don't know, researching him. I think he could be amazing for a battle, and I think Willy Wonka is the perfect contrast for that, with the business connection of sugar and drugs, and yeah, I would really want to see that.
Oh yeah, because the thing with Escobar though, well, we've heard it in different places. Escobar is apparently not on their list of doing right now, only because of the fact that the drugs could get them demonetized or whatever it was, that how they worded it, as far as we heard.
Yeah, I think they are. I don't know. I don't think that they would be that strict.
Yeah, it should.
I've done Walter White. They have had Al Capone.
They had they had Mother Teresa just shout out cocaine. So I would think
we've dabbled into this, right?
Yeah.
They no.
I don't know, but YouTube's also done with that kind of stuff. Here's the thing with me and Red, we are kind of hands down love Escobar in one. We just think it should be Tony Montana. Because it's Scarface is just a huge movie, but also in the way you were talking about the contrast, Tony Montana also has his own contrast in being just a selfish asshole, just constantly getting himself in trouble and being the cause of his own downfall. Escobar tried his best to really strengthen his community, as you say, but he also is painted as just a huge criminal, and it's understandable, but at the same time there's just more complexities than people would know. That's why we also would want him in ERB.
That's right. I also one more that actually came to mind. I tried my own stab at this, but I didn't get to have the writing that I thought, okay, this is good. But I researched Charles Dickens a lot, and I did Mark Twain versus Charles Dickens.
Oh yeah, we love that one.
Didn't end up doing it.
Yeah, they haven't done author battles in a while.
Yeah, and Charles Dickens has so many things that are so pathetic, that are so fucking funny, that just need to be in a rap battle, and ERB should look into them. Like,
I've seen stuff on his love life. He's crazy. He's got like so much shit with his wife and lover and whatnot. And we also saw like years back, the Stupendium had said that they want to possibly be an ERB, an option being Charles Dickens. We realized, we thought Peter could do it, but you know what? Peter's not too good with the accent, and we also would be interested in like a new type of style of writing in an author battle. Why not? Stupendium as Dickens, we definitely would want that.
Right.
Twain. If you know, obviously, Dragon's Blood with the Patreon. At one point earlier, this year, you said like Charles Dickens, he's kind of boring. I'm like, I'm sure he's not boring. I've seen stuff on his life. Charles Dickens is not a boring character.
Yeah, he's not boring at all. No.
Yeah, dude, him against Twain is such a classic matchup. I feel that should, either between H.P. Lovecraft or those two really should be the automatic next ones. I'll do like Rod Serling versus H.P. Lovecraft too.
Yeah,
that was awesome.
I agree.
Yeah, and he won the character poll.
I think definitely visually, there's a lot to be done with H.P. Lovecraft, kind of in a way showing Cthulhu, diving into the stories. I do want to see the concept of two authors having their first round and then two
characters.
Characters like doing the second half. Like, for example, obviously with Mark Twain, I could then imagine like Oliver Twist and Huckleberry Finn or Tom Sawyer, one of them.
Yeah, that's interesting. A nice twist to it.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because we have the closest thing we have to something like that is where we love Seth MacFarlane versus Ralph Bakshi as adult animators, and they bring in Peter Griffin and Fritz the Cat.
Yeah, that could be fun. Peter in any battle is funny, for sure. Of course.
That is true. As long as he has a good matchup for ERB, which I do think Bakshi's a perfect. Personally, I think he's a perfect opponent in every single capacity. I mean, maybe he's not, obviously not too known to the general public, but I mean, he's pretty, underrated in terms of his influence in the adult animation. But I'm rambling on. I'm sorry.
I mark that as kind of
you're good.
Kind of like how Julia Child was in ERB for her influence on cooking.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's why I love, and I just got into Bakshi's work. I'm like, dude, this guy's a fucking legend. I'm like, I can't really hate this guy, and he does have some shit to talk about. Like, he has a lot of shit to his life. Surprisingly, he does.
Yeah, that's the kind of type of people we love in ERB. Like, there's so much material to them, their works, what they did,
exactly,
their life,
exactly.
I do think Escobar versus Wonka is not really my favorite, but you know what though? I do find it funny. It is a pretty fucking funny matchup though.
Yeah, and if not that,
I won't give it that.
We do love Willy Wonka versus Mary Poppins because Peter had talked about it years ago.
True.
Peter loves that one.
Mary Poppins also hasn't really seen rap battles that often, aside from the Princess rap battle one.
And she feels like your type of character that you could tackle.
Probably.
That'd be awesome too. Yeah. Just put her against another nanny. That's the same thing. No, I'm kidding.
Not Nanny McPhee. I don't like Nanny McPhee, honestly. But you use Count Olaf. I love Mary Poppins versus Count Olaf, but someone else should do that.
I could see that. I could see that. I could
definitely see that as well. Mary Poppins confirmed for a Freshy battle? I'm just saying. I don't know.
I don't have any plan for it right now, but I do want to use her. I guess like if someone asked me like, yo, is there any character you don't have a matchup for? I should say her. Because I have gone through like searches of what should be the opponent, especially post the Willy Wonka battle I did, and I haven't found an opponent that I'm like, okay, this is it, this is the one. God, for what was it, for like 2 days this winter I was planning, I even forgot the names of these characters. It was the girl in the last Hunger Games, Lucy Gray, I think, versus the main guy from Saltbath. Was Saltburn? Not Saltbath. with the bath. Have you all seen the movie Saltburn?
I don't think so. The name kind of sounds. Yeah, the name kind of sounds familiar though.
Right.
To me,
and there's like a really just out there connection that I even forgot about, but like after 2 days I realized like I shouldn't show this to people, like this isn't the rap battle I should do. So I just scrapped it immediately.
Shit,
Christ. Yeah, stuff like that happens. I probably have like 30 different karaokes on my PC of matchups that I didn't end up doing. I just always kind of edit a beat immediately when I think of a matchup and then just scrap it.
Oh, that's a shame. It could go to someone else, perhaps.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it's really been great to get to know you, talk about what
of course,
what really drives these battles of yours, battles of ERB for when they were making them. As of right now, they're kind of dormant, but it's obviously like nice to chat, the kind of stuff that we love about this community.
Definitely. Thank you so much for having me on here. It's an honor.
Oh yeah, of course.
Totally, man.
Yeah, thank you for doing this podcast. I'm glad I was here, and cheers to everyone who got this far in the podcast.
The real
if
ones.
you got to this point, type the word pancake into the comments.
Of course, yeah. And sub to the Freshy Kanal Patreon is Don't Hug Me, I'm Scared.
Yeah.
Yeah, now that the server is a bit out there to only them, so that's what it is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Next time on ERBcast.
Well, he's a pirate. He should sound kind of like a pirate, But then also, like, he has huge teeth sticking out of his mouth, so he should sound a little bit gummy like this. So, this is basically King K. Rool speaking. Also, I like to do a little bit of flamboyancy here and there for him.
Tune in for the next episode of ERBcast.